Hello, everyone. So Dr. Delpan gave a great overview of the functions and review responsibilities that various divisions in Office of Surveillance and Epidemiology have. In the next few sessions, we're going to deep dive into the review responsibilities of Division of Medication Error Prevention and Analysis. And I'm going to start with outlining some of the process for reviewing the non-proprietary name suffix for biological products. What I'll cover in my presentation today is understand FDA's naming convention for non-proprietary name of biological products, provide the reasons for FDA's naming convention for these products, and also go over the process of how FDA evaluates the non-proprietary name suffix for these products. So let's start with some basic concepts. A reference product is the single biological product already approved by FDA against which a proposed biosimilar product is compared. A biosimilar product is a biological product that is highly similar to the reference product and has no clinically meaningful differences from the FDA-approved reference product. An interchangeable product is a biosimilar product that can be substituted for the reference product without the intervention of the prescribing healthcare provider. All drugs have risks. For biosimilar products, we expect to see the same as the adverse events for the reference product, and we monitor for those events across the board. As part of our review, FDA assesses the manufacturing processes and the strategies to control product variations. The strategies are supposed to help ensure that manufacturers are making products that perform consistently. But at the same time, there has to be robust post-marketing safety monitoring, an important component in ensuring the ongoing safety and effectiveness of all the products, including biosimilar products. This is where the naming convention comes into play. So naming for biological products generally will have a proprietary name. These are the names that are generally trademarked and registered for private use. The proper name, also referred to as the non-proprietary name, reflects certain scientific characteristics of the product. FDA designates the proper name for use upon each package of the biological product. FDA developed a naming convention to help ensure safe use and pharmacovigilance for biological products. So what is this naming convention? We published a draft guidance in August of 2015, which was then finalized in 2017, and most recently FDA published a draft update guidance in March of last year. The guidance describes FDA's current thinking on the non-proprietary naming convention for biological products. The non-proprietary names for biological products should include a core name attached by a hyphen to an FDA-designated suffix that is devoid of meaning. A unique suffix is designated for each originator biological product, related biological product, and biosimilar product. So in this slide, I've listed some examples of the application of the naming convention. As mentioned in the previous slide, the non-proprietary name for biological product is a code name and a suffix attached by hyphen to the code name. In the first example, the code name is infliximab, and we have the suffix DYYB attached by a hyphen to the code name. In the second example, the code name composed of two words, Epitin alpha, and suffixes attached to the code name. The third example is an example of a multi-ingredient product, trastuzumab and hyaluronidase. So here the code name of the product is composed of both components, trastuzumab and hyaluronidase. And the suffix OYSK is attached by a hyphen to the code name of the product. The last example, you'll need to notice that there is a prefix as well as a suffix in the non-proprietary name. In designating proper names for some related biological products, FDA has in some instances designated a proper name that includes an identifier attached as a prefix to distinguish the products from previously licensed biological products. In this case, the designation of a proper name that includes this prefix was necessary to minimize certain medication errors and facilitate pharmacovigilance. We may continue such practices on a limited basis when appropriate, when we determine that the designation of a prefix in addition to a suffix is necessary to ensure patient safety. I mentioned the update to the naming guidance. This was published in March of 2019, and in this guidance, we outlined our current thinking with regards to already licensed product as well as transition biological product. We no longer intend to modify the proper name of biological products that were licensed under the PHS Act without an FDA-designated suffix in their proper name. FDA also does not intend to apply the naming convention to the proper name of transition biological products. In the update guidance, we also outlined our current thinking for interchangeable product, which notes that FDA intends to designate a proper name that is a combination of the core name and a unique distinguishing suffix for each interchangeable product. So I'll talk a little bit more about our rationale for not applying the suffix to already licensed product. So applying a suffix to already licensed product is not necessary to achieve the goals of safe use and pharmacovigilance. This approach really is intended to minimize the potential burden for sponsors and healthcare systems, and to avoid the potential confusion for healthcare providers, patients, address issues with drug shortages or supply chain disruption that may be associated with post-approval name changes, as these kind of changes seldom happen post-approval. FDA still believes that the unique suffixes are a critical tool for tracking adverse events to a particular biological product and for preventing confusion between products. I want to talk a little bit about our goals for the naming convention. The goals for this are really threefold. The driving force is transparency. Non-proprietary name is one identifier we were able to identify that works its way through all healthcare systems to allow for identification of the products for safe use and pharmacovigilance. It facilitates the correct prescribing and dispensing of the intended product. We also heard from patients and providers a real desire to understand and know what the patient actually received for the product, notwithstanding the fact that we approve these products as safe, pure, and potent. All of this transparency, we believe, leads to practitioners' and patients' trust. The transparency and trust afforded by this naming convention, we believe, will lead to enhanced prescriber and patient confidence that will facilitate the ultimate market uptake for these products. Robust post-marketing safety monitoring is an important component in ensuring the safety and effectiveness of biological products, including biosimilar products. The ability to clearly identify biological products can help ensure safe use and facilitate accurate prescribing and dispensing of biological products. Also in clinical practice, the ability to distinguish among originator, related, and biosimilar biological products is important. A biosimilar product may be licensed for fewer than all conditions of use, for example, fewer indications or dosing regimens, or may be licensed for different routes of administration or fewer routes of administration than for which its reference product is licensed. Similarly, related biological products may be licensed for different conditions of use or route of administrations than those approved for the originator product. Biosimilar products and related products may also be packaged in different delivery systems, such as pre-filled syringes instead of a vial, than those that are approved for originator products. Now I'm going to walk through how the naming convention helps with the biological product pharmacovigilance. Pharmacovigilance systems, both active and passive, vary in their use of identifiers to differentiate among biological products. These identifiers used in an adverse event report may include a proprietary name, non-proprietary name, or a proper name, a manufacturer, a NDC or National Drug Code number, lot number, or billing codes. We know that the active pharmacovigilance systems, which generally identify adverse events by querying electronic healthcare data such as administrative and billing data, have limited ability to track to its manufacturer a biological product that shares the same proper name with other biological products. Non-proprietary names that include distinguishing suffixes can serve as a key element to identify specific products in billing and claim records used for active pharmacovigilance. We also know that other product identifiers, such as NDC numbers, are not routinely recorded in billing and patient records in many clinical settings in which we expect these biological products are dispensed and administered. The FDA expects that biological products that include non-proprietary name with FDA-designated suffixes will assist in timely and precise identification of the product associated with adverse events in all settings of care. So having walked through the policy and the objectives and the rationale for the naming convention, now let's talk about the process for the suffix review. Suffix evaluation by FDA occurs as part of the BLA's review cycle. In CDER, it's coordinated by the Division of Medication Error Prevention and Analysis. In CBER, it's coordinated by the Advertising and Promotional Labeling branch. FDA may generate a suffix for designation in the proper name if an applicant requests that FDA generate this suffix to assign to their product, or if the applicant does not request FDA review of proposed suffixes, or does not request review of a suffix that FDA finds acceptable or within an appropriate time frame to allow FDA sufficient time to review. When sponsors do propose suffixes, FDA encourages applicants to conduct their due diligence on the proposed suffixes. So this slide provides an overview of who all are involved in the center or at FDA involved in the review of the suffix. So as I mentioned before, DMEPA is the lead for this review of the suffixes under consideration. OPDP, or our Office of Prescription Drug Promotion, would evaluate the suffix candidate from a false and misleading perspective, if they are false and misleading with respect to safety and efficacy. We also consult with OND to provide input on the acceptability of the suffix and keep OSC informed on any changes regarding the application that would ultimately affect the review of the suffixes under consideration. And then there are various other offices in CDER that may be involved in the review of the suffixes on a case-by-case basis. So now I want to talk about how FDA evaluates suffix candidates. So we begin by assessing the format to make sure that the suffix is composed of 4 lowercase letters, of which at least 3 are distinct. The suffix does not contain any numerals or any other symbols and is attached to the core name with a hyphen. We will also evaluate the format of the suffix to ensure consistency with the guidance, including if the suffix has any apparent meaning or if the suffix candidate could connote the license holder. To determine this, we generally compare the spelling of the suffix to the spelling of the company name or the proposed proprietary name of the product to identify letters that may be common to both. FDA may also compare the spelling of the suffix candidates to all suffixes accepted or approved for other biological products held by the same manufacturer. This is done to ensure that the suffix is devoid of meaning and unique to each product as well as non-proprietary. So after we've evaluated the suffix to ensure that it meets the suffix format and that does not raise any concern, the next step is we then proceed to review each suffix candidate from a safety perspective. In that process, there are multiple things we consider. Again, you can refer to the section 6 of the final guidance for some of the criteria that we look at. We make sure that the suffix does not include any abbreviations that are commonly used in clinical practice in a manner that may lead the suffix to be misinterpreted as another element on the prescription or the order. To identify the presence of any abbreviations within a suffix candidate, we generally search list of commonly used medical abbreviations to ensure the suffix is in whole or in part not composed of letters that could be misconstrued as a medical abbreviation. We also look to ensure a use and stem is not included within a suffix. This is the United States adopted name stems that are generally included within the established name to denote a pharmacological class. We also look to see that the suffix does not contain or suggest any drug substance name or code name. It does not look similar to or be capable of being mistaken for the name of a currently marketed product. We also look to see that the suffix is not too similar to any other FDA designated non-proprietary name suffix. And for the first, this one as well as for the previous bullet of ensuring that it does not look similar to a name of a currently marketed product, we use our phonetic and orthographic computer analysis system, and I'll go over that in the next slide in a little more detail. We also make sure that the suffix does not look similar to or otherwise connote the name of the license holder, and I covered some of that in the previous slide. And it's not false or misleading, such as making misrepresentation with respect to safety and efficacy. And as I mentioned before, this aspect of the suffix evaluation is done by our Office of Prescription Drug Promotion. To identify similar names or similar suffix to a suffix candidate, FDA uses the POCA, or the Phonetic and Orthographic Computer Analysis Program, to identify these similar suffixes or similar names. You'll hear more about the POCA program in the next presentation on the proprietary names. But in a nutshell, the POCA program is a software tool that utilizes an advanced algorithm to determine the orthographic and phonetic similarity between either two drug names or two letter strings. FDA has adapted the POCA tool to include a database of suffixes that are incorporated within the non-proprietary name of approved biological suffixes or biological products. This new features of the POCA program enables us to compare a suffix candidate to drug names, brand or established, to avoid the suffix candidates that are too similar to other drug names. And it also helps us conduct target comparison of suffix candidates to other suffix component of biological non-proprietary names. And finally, this slide provides an overview of the entire process for suffix review. So DMEPA, like I've mentioned before, initiates the assessment of the suffix candidates. If the suffix candidate is found to be unacceptable based on our evaluation, that suffix candidate generally would not proceed to the subsequent steps of CDER review. And the finding of the candidate being unacceptable is communicated to the applicant in a letter. In the instance where the applicant proposes suffixes, DMEPA will review up to 10 proposed suffix candidates in the order of preference listed by the applicant in their request. Once we find a suffix candidate that is acceptable, we will then not initiate review of the following suffixes. After evaluation of the suffix candidate by DMEPA, the suffix is then sent to the Office of Prescription Drug Promotion for their recommendation on the acceptability based on whether it's not false or misleading. And again, we may consult with other groups within CDER on a case-by-case basis. DMEPA writes and archives one consolidated memorandum that incorporates all CDER viewpoints and recommendations. expressed by any consulting offices. These findings are then communicated to the applicant in a letter issued by Office of Surveillance and Epidemiology. So this concludes my presentation. Now to the challenge question round. Question number 1. FDA may object to a suffix if a suffix A includes abbreviations that can be misinterpreted as another element on the prescription or order. B is too similar to any other FDA-designated non-proprietary name suffix. C looks similar to or otherwise connotes the name of the license holder. And D, all of the above. I'm going to give folks a few seconds to decide on the correct answer. And the correct answer is all of the above. FDA may object to a suffix if the suffix includes abbreviations that can be misinterpreted, is too similar to any other FDA-designated suffix, or if it looks similar to or otherwise connotes the name of the license holder. So these are all reasons that we would object to a suffix. Question 2. The suffix should be composed of 4 lowercase letters, of which at least 3 are distinct, should contain at least 1 numeral, should not be attached to the core name with a hyphen. And the correct answer is be composed of 4 lowercase letters, of which at least 3 are distinct. Included in this slide are some of the resources, the 2 guidance that I mentioned during my presentation, the final guidance published in 2017 and the draft guidance for industry non-proprietary naming update published in March of 2019. Also listed the map here, which outlines the process for handling requests for non-proprietary name suffixes review. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for your attention, and I'd be happy to answer any questions in the Q&A session. Thank you.